It was supposed to be just another Sunday dinner. 10-year-old Jamal clutched his sister Maya's hand as their father, Marcus Johnson, knocked on the grand oak door of the Westchester estate. It was the home where Marcus had spent his childhood, now belonging to his aging white mother, Margaret Langston. Margaret peered through the glass. Her eyes narrowed as they landed on the two brown-skinned children and their grieving father. "What do you want, Marcus?" she asked sharply, her tone cold as winter frost. Marcus's eyes were heavy with sadness. "Mama Sandra passed 2 years ago, the cancer. And now I've just been diagnosed with stage 4. I don't have much time. I need your help. For the kids." Her lips pursed. "So now you come crawling back, after choosing that woman over your own blood. Maya and Jamal are your grandchildren." "No, they are not. You made your choice. You can leave now." She slammed the door. Maya's tiny voice trembled. "Daddy, why doesn't she like us?" Marcus looked down, swallowing tears, because sometimes people forget what love really means. But the worst had yet to come. 3 weeks later, Marcus was gone. The only parent Maya and Jamal had ever known taken too soon. They had nowhere to go. The funeral was small. A few neighbors, some distant friends. But Margaret, she didn't show. Not even a call. Social services made calls. Margaret was the last known relative. Finally, she arrived at the agency in a black car, sunglasses on, lips tight. Not a hug, not a tear. She walked up to the social worker, ignoring the children altogether. "I want nothing to do with them," she said. "They can go into the system. I won't take in bastards." The woman sitting at the desk gasped. "Mrs. Langston, they are your grandchildren." She stood firm. "They are not my family." With that, Margaret turned and left. Jamal clung to Maya that night. They didn't sleep, but fate, it seemed, had other plans. Across town, in a modest legal office, attorney Henry Cole unlocked a drawer. Inside was a sealed envelope marked "Confidential," to be opened upon the death of Marcus Johnson. Henry had been Marcus's lifelong friend and his personal attorney. He opened the envelope slowly, then froze as he read the document. It was Marcus's final will and testament, signed and notarized, and attached to it was another will. One dated back almost 30 years, signed by Gerald Langston, Margaret's late husband and Marcus's adoptive father. Henry's hands trembled. Gerald's will stated that Marcus Johnson was the sole heir to the Langston estatal properties, trusts, and holdings, including $100 million in assets, would be transferred to Marcus and his legal descendants. Margaret had kept this hidden all these years. Worse, she didn't realize it had already been filed, locked away in court records, with no expiration. And now, Marcus was gone, which meant the estate, including everything now, legally belonged to Maya and Jamal. 3 months later, a black Mercedes pulled up outside the Langston estate. Margaret, now living alone, was sipping tea in the garden when she heard the doorbell. She opened the door and came face to face with attorney Henry Cole. Behind him stood a court officer. "Margaret Langston?" he asked. "Yes," she replied with suspicion. "I'm here on behalf of the late Marcus Johnson's estate. Per the will of Gerald Langston and subsequent filings, I regret to inform you that this property no longer belongs to you. You have 30 days to vacate. Ownership now passes to the legal heirs Maya and Jamal Johnson." Margaret's face turned white. "That's impossible. I was never informed." "You were," Henry said calmly. "You just chose to ignore it. Those kids, they're nothing. They are your grandchildren, And now, legally, they are the owners of everything your husband built. Margaret dropped her teacup, shards of porcelain hitting the porch like the pieces of her pride. She had thrown them away, and now they owned everything. The following spring, Maya and Jamal walked through the gates of the Westchester estate, this time with Henry by their side. They were dressed simply, no flash, no arrogance, just two children returning to a home that had once rejected them. Inside, the halls were quiet. Margaret had already moved into a small apartment across town, alone. Neighbors stared as the kids moved in, whispering and wondering what would happen to the grand mansion now. But the siblings had a plan. They turned the estate into the Johnson House for children, a shelter and learning center for orphans, especially those who'd been left behind because of the color of their skin. This house isn't about hate, Maya told the reporters at the opening. It's about second chances and love, Jamal added. Real love, the kind our dad taught us. A photo of Marcus stood at the front door, smiling, proud, watching over it all. And from her tiny apartment, Margaret watched the news. No one came to visit her anymore. She stared at the screen, eyes wet, heart heavy. For in her pride, she had lost everything. But in their grace, her grandchildren had turned pain into purpose. What are your thoughts on this story? Comment and subscribe, Lifelines.